Get ready for the old school hustle at Ridgela Theater in Fort Worth, Texas. Join IHWE on November 5th, 2017 for great wrestling and a great cause benefiting the Hurricane Harvey relief. Doors open at 5 p.m. Bell time is at 6 p.m. For more information, follow them on Twitter at IHWE Wrestling. That's at IHWE Wrestling. This podcast is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first. No, I'm not reading the rest of this. I quit. Hey, you guys, on the podcast, just click your buttons and come on, start the show.
Today's episode is brought to you by Gamefly. For our listeners of the Gimmick Table, Gamefly is offering a 1-month free trial. That's one game out by signing up at GameflyOffer.com/gimmick to take advantage of this awesome offer. And welcome everybody to the 14th installment of the Gimmick Table. I am your host, Matt. With me, as always, my lovely, lovely co-host. He is the Mongolians to my Great Wall. He is Bats. How you doing today, Bats?
Just call me Genghis Khan.
Are you going to sing for me now?
I don't remember the lyrics.
You don't remember the lyrics? I'm pretty sure.
I get a little bit Genghis Khan. Don't want you to get it on with nobody else but me.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, you're not my type. But anyways, I have a riddle for you today. Are you ready for my riddle?
Hit me with it.
All right. So, May 12th, 2018, Nashville, Tennessee. 16 of the best women in professional wrestling. One night, one winner, leaving wearing one crown. Where are we, Bats?
Well, at the end there, you made me think of like some type of Game of Thrones reenactment, but I know you're talking about the Making Towns Classic.
And guys, you don't want to miss it, and you need to get over and follow them on Twitter at the MT Classic. And better yet, now they got one of them Facebook gimmicks as well. So all I got to do is search Making Towns Classic, and you can follow them on Facebook as well. Now we got joining us today on the Gimmick Table. We got his tag team partner last week, Pat Sawyer. So please join us in welcoming today to the Gimmick Table. He is Ray Ross. How you doing today, Ray? Hello?
Okay, did you get him?
Dude, yeah, I got him on the line.
You actually talked to him and like had a conversation with him?
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, it says somebody's on the phone.
Are you there, Ray? Hello?
This is Ray.
Ray?
Ray, it's Ray Ross.
This does not sound like Ray Ross. This sounds like Mike, the commentator for Xcite Wrestling.
Well, you know what, Matt? I'm back, and I'm sorry. This is really awkward. I had to interrupt.
Jesus, Mike.
Listen, I just got a few things I like to say to you.
Mike.
Listen,
we talked
Black
about
Friday in Oneida, New York, on twitch.tv/Xcite Wrestling. There's going to be free wrestling. You can watch it right there. We have matches like, I don't know, Mike Orlando and Axel Lennox. There's going to be a steel cage match with Rob Cook and Stockade. And also Matt Seidel taking on Slick Wagner-Brown.
Hold on, Mike. We
have another thing. We have plenty of things,
How
Matt.
did you get on this call?
Listen,
First of all, Mike.
Let me get my 2 cents in.
Mike, hold on. I'll let you continue. How did you get on the call? How did you get on the call? He had Ray Ross on the line, but now we got you, Mike Robertson, on the line. What did you do? Some fucking Houdini bullshit here.
Sean Carr versus David Starr. And there's also for the Xcite Championship, and also a #1 contendership match, Brute Van Slyke taking on Keith Lee.
Okay, but that's great and all, but we talked about this. You can't just interrupt the show. We have to plan these things out.
I didn't want to replace your door, and I figured this would be a better option because you guys haven't responded to my tweets. You know, you're not even active on Twitter.
We're pretty actually active on Twitter and the Facebook Gimmick. We have scheduled tweets and posts going out daily. Thank you very much.
Well, Black Friday Mayhem, Oneida, New York. Be there.
Hey, Mike, you want to know what the wonderful thing about technology is in telephones?
What would that be?
That would be the ability to hang up on you. Goodbye.
Yep.
Okay, so again, the show Bats has been interrupted by Mike Robertson trying to plug Xcite Wrestling on Twitch.
I mean, he went as far as wiretapping
He
our
wiretapped
phone
us.
call there.
Like, is he working with...
He
the-
hijacked us.
Did he get the Baltimore PD involved in this? Man.
Patriot Act.
All right, so we got things cleared up. We have the actual Ray Ross on the line now, so please let's try this again. One more time. Join us in welcoming to the Gimmick Table. He is Ray Ross. How you doing today, Ray?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Thank you for joining us today on the show. Thank you again to Austin for hooking us up with this interview. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day.
Hey, no problem. Thank you guys for having me.
You are welcome.
We're going to get right into it. How were you first introduced to professional wrestling?
Well, I have to say it was through my parents. They'd always talk about like old 80s wrestling with Andre and Roddy Piper and all them, and I'd always be like, who the hell are these guys? Then I looked them up and immediately fell in love.
And do you recall the first time you saw it or just them talking about it?
I believe the first time I saw wrestling, I think it was like 2006, 2007. And that was when like all my friends were into it and they were talking about it in school. And I was like, I should probably get into this.
And who were some of the guys you enjoyed watching at first?
At first, I pretty much enjoyed like Shawn Michaels and Triple H back when they were doing the DX thing. And yeah, when I was a kid, I was a John Cena fan too.
It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
John Cena is a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's got way more Make-A-Wish Foundation things done than the Gimmick Table's got going, so we can't say anything. So out of all those guys that you watch, why were they some of your favorites?
Well, I would say like Triple H and all them. Back then, like when they were doing the DX thing with Spirit Squad, like some of the stuff they did was so ridiculous. Then they got into like the Hell in a Cell stuff with Big Show and the McMahons and all that hardcore stuff, and I just thought it was pretty awesome.
Now going to like now, who are some of your favorite guys to watch?
I'd say definitely Stan Hansen. I always dive into the old Japanese stuff. Kevin Steen, a.k.a. Kevin Owens, and guys like Drew Gulak and Timothy Thatcher.
All right, and why do those guys appeal to you?
The viciousness that they have and the seriousness in their wrestling, especially guys like Stan Hansen. He just goes out there and gets the job done, no BS. That's what I like about him. And then guys like Kevin Owens, he's just downright entertaining, and I love listening to him as well as watching some of the matches that he's had.
And out of his matches, what are some of your favorites just off the top of your head?
I have to say Ladder War with him and Generico, the Mask versus Career, and I think it was a tag team match. Him, Steve Carino versus Colt Cabana and El Generico. I believe that was at the ECW arena, where they just go all out on each other.
And when did you go kind of from watching more of the WWE wrestling to independent wrestling?
It was like 11th grade. I was getting into like Daniel Bryan and all them, and I discovered his Ring of Honor work, and I was like, I'm gonna check this out. And saw a huge difference between like WWE stuff and the independent stuff. It's just more wrestling, and that's what I cared more about than the cheesy storylines and the talking.
And when did you go to your first independent show?
September 28th, I think it was either 15 or 16. That was the 2CW show with Chris Hero, and that was when Sean Carr won the 2CW title, and it was just awesome.
And what was that first experience like for you?
It was definitely a holy shit moment, because I've seen plenty of WWE live events at the arenas, and they were nothing compared to like the independents and the fan bases there.
It's a little different being all up close and personal like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you realize that you didn't want to just be a wrestling fan, but you wanted to be a wrestler?
I think for me, what made me really want to be a wrestler was the Wrestling Road Diaries documentary with Colt Cabana, Bryan Danielson, and Sal Rinauro, where they take you on an adventure through the independents and show you how fun it is. That really sparked it for me.
And what was it about that sparked it for you?
Just the fun they have on the road and seeing what goes on backstage and all the fans that truly care about what they do, as opposed to watching WWE, where you don't really see a whole lot of that stuff go on.
So, like, now that you're kind of living that life, does it amount to what you saw on that video that made you want to get into wrestling?
Pretty much. I've been having pretty much fun with all the guys in the back, especially at the school. Definitely made a lot of new friends, especially guys take similar interests in what I have, because I never really had that stuff back in high school. Now I'm with all these guys doing what I love and couldn't ask for anything else.
All right, so let's kind of build on that. So, you've seen this documentary. You want to get into professional wrestling. How did you make that jump from idea to action?
It'd have to be my dad. He helped with it because I went to an Xcite show and we saw a guy, Jeff Thomas, and I believe the announcer said he was from Waverly, which is like 10 minutes from our house. He was like, "Hey," he messaged him, asked him how he got into it. He basically told us about a school that was running in our town, and that's how it's all started.
And tell us about that school. Where was that, and how long were you there?
So the school, can't really say it was the best. It was pretty much run down. Guy running it didn't really teach us anything. He would always just repeat himself over and over. It was pretty much very boring.
And how did you transition to your current school?
Basically, there was an Xcite show going on that Jeff was on, and he took us there, and that's where we met Johnny Moose and Sean Carr. We told them about the situation at the school, and next thing you know, boom, they open up the school, and we're over there now, learning a bunch of stuff.
Kind of tell us a little bit more about your trainers.
So we have Sean Carr as our head trainer. Sometimes Axel Lennox will show up, teach us a bunch of stuff. I'd say compared to the original school we started, this is a lot better since we do a lot of stuff and learn new things. And overall, it's just a fun time to be there.
And I know you're short in your career, but tell us some of the impacts they've already had on your career.
Definitely learned how to fix myself in a professional manner. And I have to say, I'm not sure.
Well, what do you mean by handle yourself in a more professional manner?
Just seeing the way they act backstage and just how they act in general. It's just people you'd aspire to be like. Because you don't want to go around being a jerk, where you see guys like them being super respectable and everyone loves them and having a great reputation. That's what I live to have. Basically being the nice guy in the back.
And why do you feel reputation is so important?
Having a good reputation pretty much gets you bookings and connections and having friends in your life. Or say if you have a bad reputation, not many people will like you, and you're probably not going to get many bookings, nor will you have many friends in the business.
You begin your training. When did you start your training officially at the new school?
I'd have to say it was late August. That was when we started doing the bumps and the universals and all that other stuff. Basically reintroducing ourselves.
This was August of last year, correct?
Yes.
Tell us about your first day of training there. What was that like? You said it was a much better of a school, has a lot more going on in the right direction, structure. What was that first day like?
I thought it was pretty good. Felt a lot better than the first day of training I had at the old school. That was downright terrible. Went over a lot of good things. We talked about certain things. And overall, it's just way 10 times better than what the original school had.
Kind of gives you more of a passion for it. You step into like a nicer gym with some better trainers.
Oh, yeah.
So how long did you go between starting your training at the school to your debut?
I'd have to say probably like close to a year. Because I know before that I've been put into the Royal Rumble match and the six-man scramble. But I think a year later, I actually had my very first debut in a one-on-one match.
All right, in one word, tell us what you're experiencing right as that match is about to start.
Goddamn.
I think, we can count that as one word. We'll give you two if it's not.
That's one word.
No spaces.
No space.
Goddamn.
All right, so kind of go through that first experience to us. What's it like walking out to the ring and having that first singles match?
Well, there was a lot of stress, a lot of butterflies, very nervous, because you never know if the crowd's going to eat you alive. We all know the Binghamton crowd. They're very marked, whereas other places, they're very family-friendly and don't really care if you botch something. I was very nervous, especially since it was a student versus student match.
And who was that other student you were facing?
That was Simon Queen.
And how'd that match progress for you?
I thought it went pretty well. At first, I was like, oh my God, we're going to get eaten alive. But we went out there and we tore it up and beat the hell out of each other, and people loved it. And at the end of that match, we went from stressing out to being like, oh my God, that was the greatest time of our lives.
Nice. And so you were students together, so you trained a lot together before that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, your singles debut was also on the Twitch stream, correct?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so that's got to be an added form of pressure. How does that feel knowing that you have pretty much everybody in the world is going to get to see you on your debut?
It was a mixture of, oh shit, and wow, this is awesome.
Did it make you like a little more nervous there? Like you have a lot more people watching than just in general audience.
The pressure was definitely on. There was a lot of pressure going into that match.
But it seems like you guys handled it and got through that match fairly well. It's turned out to be pretty nice.
Oh yeah.
What are you looking forward to going into your next match? What would you do differently from that match?
I have to say, I'd be a lot less nice, be a little more serious.
What do you mean by less nice? Like a little more heelish?
Yeah, I was going into that match pretty all happy, smiley, and by the end of the match, I was morphed into a grizzly bear.
So you're
Which is
gonna
what people really like to see.
roll with
The
that.
hard-hitting lariat.
He does.
That goes with the character. I feel like if I'm just going to go out there, you need to be one person. That's the vicious style.
Yeah, you think that suits you a little more?
Yeah, definitely hard. But I really didn't know who I was for the longest time. Then it just comes natural with the vicious, just hard-hitting style, and people end up loving that, and it just fits well with me.
Well, yeah, you like Kevin Owens. That's a little smash and grab.
So this is kind of leading into where we'd go anyways. Elaborate on for us, who is Ray Ross?
Ray Ross is a no-frills young kid. Pretty much people, earlier in his career, he started out as a very small guy who grew and grew. The more he grew, the harder he hit. Especially, I think a lot of it has to do with the natural and real feelings of what he's gone through in life, especially with people telling him he's probably going to start off doing squash matches, which he would be squashed, which just grew angry and angry. The next thing you know, boom, he's the one squashing other people. It just feels great.
Like the Hulk in slow motion.
Mm-hmm. I mean, don't get him wrong. Ray Ross is a pretty laid-back guy. He's a very cool guy when you see it to know him. But if you're on his bad side, I pity you.
And yeah, Bats, you would love it because his move is the lariat, which we all know that your favorite move ever is the Rainmaker. So you can see the lariats from Ray Ross.
Yelling Lariat does not sound as good as Rainmaker.
You just yell his name.
The Ross Maker.
The Ross Maker. I love it.
You just got Ray Ross.
Sometimes you don't need a writer. So why do you enjoy doing the lariat, speaking of lariats?
It feels good. After a long week of stressful college, you get to tear someone's head off. It just feels great. Especially you can go super full force on it.
You go to the gym, you work those arms out, you just want to fucking blast someone with them.
Yeah, got to use them. Got to use those muscles somehow.
Can't keep those guns locked up forever.
No.
How much beer did you drink before this episode?
Just a little bit.
He's a lot more vocal than usual. All right, well, besides the lariat, how else do you like to punish your opponents?
Definitely wrenching them in the crossface. That's got to hurt. One thing I do want to use is crossface chicken wing.
I mean, I like
I
chicken
definitely
wings.
like my opponents senseless and stretch them.
Ouch. What else do you like to do to them?
Shopping. Shopping's very fun, at least for me.
How do you prepare for a match?
Well, I like to listen to Freebird by Leonard Skinner.
Nice.
Ease the nerves.
Like every time? That's your warm-up music?
Oh, yeah. Then I like to watch a little Stan Hansen tribute video with all of his hard-hitting lariats with his epic theme song to get me pumping. And I like to do some push-up, pump up the muscles. And then I like to sit in the corner and go over my match until I get it in my head.
It's very, very focused, very sports, athletic, traditional style of a warm-up. Nice, solid routine.
Yeah, it's great.
You eat anything special before your matches?
What is
Oh, no, I can't eat.
You can't eat before a match?
I can never eat before a match.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. He just threw that question out there like a curveball. I wasn't expecting to get into a dietary conversation today.
Right after the match, I'm just gorging on food. Because, before the match, my stomach's just telling me no.
Have you ever eaten before a match?
Oh, no, never. I always have the fear of either throwing up or going number 2 mid-match.
Well, that one, yeah. Both of those bad. So then, what do you go eat after the match?
Whatever's downstairs in the little food area. Definitely love the burgers and fries that the Legion has.
Some craft services.
And we kind of touched on this earlier. You are still young, and obviously being new, there's a lot of things that you got to do, especially being part of the school. So kind of go through what your role is, just not as a wrestler, but what's some of the other stuff that you have to do behind the scenes now?
Behind the scenes, there's not much for me. So, before I was wrestling, I started off as a cameraman, and I would always film the matches. And other than that, pretty much wandering out and about, keeping things in line backstage, make sure no fights happen, being professional. If Johnny has something as a favor, I'd be willing to get it done.
Matt's starting out as a cameraman now. Do you think we could maybe try and persuade him to get into the ring?
Oh, go ahead.
I am not going to go DDP style at 32 years old and start wrestling.
Well, you're going to get put through a table, so.
No, we're not that close.
I know when I started out as a cameraman, we had Drew Gulak who needed footage done, and they needed someone to stretch And they looked at me and was like, "Can you do it?" I was like, "Sure." Put my camera down, took my shirt off, and got in the ring with them.
All right, what was it like that for you? Because, I mean, you're just doing camera work, and then next thing you know, you're in the ring with Drew Gulak getting stretched.
I thought it was awesome. Going up against a guy who was pretty much a name in the business. I could go around saying, "Hey, I got in the ring with Drew Gulak at that age before I was wrestling."
Why do you want to do this? I mean, you're putting your body at risk.
I don't really know. I just love it. Like, I think about wrestling 24/7. It's always on my mind. And if I didn't do it, like, originally I wanted to be a special effects makeup artist for horror movies and all that. But deep in the back of my mind, I knew it would eat at me forever and ever if I didn't do wrestling. And doing it just makes me feel so much better and has a weight off my back.
What is that about? More like being a performer there, or just you like to beat people up?
Being a performer, being around all the guys in the back, being around wrestling in general.
So like being part of that wrestling family and everything, because
Oh, yeah. I love it.
yeah, everybody loves the wrestling family and, you know, the backstage crowd.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot better than being in the fan in the crowd.
Yeah, you hear that, fans? Get in the ring.
Get in the ring. See how it is.
What would have been some of your favorite moments that you've experienced so far?
Definitely my debut match. The 6-man scramble, being in there with guys like Brian Plunkett, Mark House, Nick Ando, and having them at the end of the match tell me how well I did, especially for a young guy. Makes you feel better about yourself and knowing that you did great. And definitely being in the ring with Drew Gulak.
Yeah, Ando's a good guy. We had him on the show a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago, dude.
Well, that's a couple episodes.
Will you give him a lariat for me?
Sure, no problem.
See?
It's called getting ring-rossed.
All right, so if you had a 5-year plan, what goals would you like to get in the next 5 years?
I'd hopefully sign somewhere, especially at a young age. Maybe go to places like Ring of Honor, CZW. Definitely have a great reputation of being the nicest guy in the locker room. Getting somewhere with my tag team partner, Pat Sawyer, longtime high school friend. Definite goal.
Hey.
Definitely going other places such as Japan or Germany to learn and get better.
You just name dropping episodes for us, man. We had
Yeah.
on the show last week. So then, yeah, I mean, he wanted to do some traveling. Maybe you guys could be a traveling road crew for us.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they want to be wrestlers who travel around the world, Bats. I don't think they want to come work for us.
No, I mean, but they could do interviews with us from our different locations around the world, exotic locales.
Boots and Lariats Diaries.
We'll have it as the second show on every weekly. You guys could just do it from on location.
Yeah, it'll be great.
All right, people. That's why you need to join our Patreon so we can afford to send them all across the world.
Go fund me.
What are some of your overall lifetime ambitions as a wrestler?
Definitely be the most respected wrestler there is. As I said before, definitely have a reputation of being like the nicest guy you'll ever meet in the locker room. And later on in life, I hope I get to give back, especially to like the younger kids that are going to be in wrestling later on in life and help them out and put them first.
It's a really good outlook to have.
Yeah.
Now, you say you want to be the nicest guy in the locker room. Does that mean you want to be a heel out in the ring?
Pretty much how heels mostly are, like major douchebags in the ring, but in the locker room, you always hear the stories about how like the meanest guy that's in the ring is like the nicest person they've ever talked to, which is pretty awesome in wrestling. It totally fools you. You never guess as a fan that evil guy in the ring that's beating the shit out of your hero is like the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Well, it's got to be a good outlet, especially if you are the good guy who often takes the high road in most situations and kind of got to just let things simmer. Getting to go out there and kind of just let it all out must be wonderful.
Yeah.
And you get to hurt somebody.
And at the end of the
Okay,
day, that hero you're beating up, you're invited to his daughter's birthday party anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, what would be a couple of your dream matches? Some of the guys that you would love to get an opportunity to wrestle.
Okada, Kevin Owens, a rematch with Drew Gulak. Well, Timothy Thatcher. I think that's really it. Those are my main.
Why are those some of the guys that you want to get into the ring with?
Well, mostly I feel like I could definitely learn a lot getting in the ring with those experienced guys. Basically hopefully putting on like the best match I've ever had in my careers. And it'd just be a dream come true to be in the ring with the guys that I've looked up to.
We kind of talked about you like being a heel. Now, how do you like to get the crowd against you?
Well, can't really say. I'm a talker. I'm much more of a doer. So if they really like the guy, I'm probably going to do something obviously really terrible to them. Maybe something a little embarrassing. Definitely stretching them. That just makes them look horribly weak. And even grossing them out.
And who is your favorite heel? Who are some of the heels that you look up to, draw inspiration from?
Definitely Kevin Steen, and I have to say Stan Hansen.
What is it about those two that appealed to you?
Kevin Steen, he's just amazing in the ring. He can get a crowd going. And Stan Hansen, what can I say? He broke the neck of Bruno Sammartino, everyone's hero. Everyone wanted to kill him. That's just how much heel could you get?
Exactly. Yeah, that might take the cake right there.
Mm-hmm.
And what are some of the lessons that you think you've learned so far in your short time in the ring?
I'd say have a good attitude, be positive, slow down, be gentle, work with your opponent, not against them, be good with communication. Pretty much anything that is not going to get sort of fight backstage or anything.
And you kind of touched on this earlier with the whole idea of having a good reputation. Obviously, with people with good reputations in the locker room, there's also going to come a toxic element as well. What are some of those elements that you try to avoid?
Pretty much talking, not shutting up, not listening, going into business for yourself, causing problems with other people, causing problems with the promoter. That's just stuff I do not want to be. Being professional in the locker room is just the way to go.
And kind of you understand already that it's kind of about everybody, not just yourself, it seems like.
Yeah, pretty much. For the promoter and for the guys in the back who pretty much become your brothers. You got to stick by each other.
All right, guys, and we're going to take a quick break and get a little bit of that sponsor gimmick in for you. We'll be right back. For you, the listeners of the Gimmick Table, Gamefly is offering a premium free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. All you got to do is go to www.gameflyoffer.com/gimmick to get your free trial today.
So, guys, basically for the price of buying 2 to 3 games a year, you could get an entire year's worth of GameFly service and rent as many games as you want with no late fees. If you like the game you rented, you can keep the game at a heavily discounted rate, and GameFly will send you the original game case and the manual at no extra charge. Members receive huge discounts on those games. Never get burned again buying a bad video game or getting stuck with a game that only takes a few days to beat, or you get bored with it and you don't like it anymore.
And again, guys, to get your free trial, go to gameflyoffer.com/gimmick and you can take advantage of this awesome opportunity. And let's get back to the show. All right, guys, and we are back with Ray Ross.
The Ross Mega!
All right, now we're gonna get into what's coming up for you now. We had Pat on last week. He was the Boots, and now we're being joined today by the Lariats of Boots and Lariats. And he kind of touched base on how you guys came together. How you guys have kind of always had an idea to be a tag team. How do you finally feel making that pipe dream come true and get to have a tag team with one another at this point, very early on in your career?
Well, it first came about was like 4 in the morning. Neither of us could sleep, and I messed. Like an idea just popped in my head. It all came down to like, man, I saw the Lariat, and he saw the Boot. What if we had some cheesy, easy name like Boots and Lariats, and just stuck with it? So I messaged him like, hey Pat, got this name for a tag team that we want to do. And like, what do you think about Boots and Lariats? Oh my God, I love it. So we were like, after that, we were up to like 6 in the morning just talking about ideas and everything. And I'm just downstairs making logos and everything, showing them it. And it's just all coming together.
Speaking of that, Austin was showing me you do like to do a lot of the Photoshop work.
Yep.
I like to dabble myself.
Fun.
Yeah, if you've seen any of our graphic design, that is all my lovely, lovely co-host's work. He takes pride in making them as non-wrestling related as possible, I think.
Yep. So don't worry, I'll do one
Well, I
for
don't believe
you.
I have. Check it out.
He made Pat into Rudy.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That's stuff I did my free time. Always photoshopped each other's on movie posters and everything.
Yeah.
So my latest one was we parodied the Tim and Eric Awesome show.
Oh, nice.
You said you're excited about the formation of Boots and Lariats. What chemistry do you think that you and Pat have together that's going to make you successful?
I'd say we always had a natural chemistry with each other, especially back in high school. Even in our football days, we just get around, do a little tag match with all the other kids, beat up on the freshmen. We'd always tell jokes. We were pretty much class clowns in our class, and people always knew, like, wow, there's Ray and Pat.
And now you're only going to have one match between your singles debut and your tag team debut, which is going to be taking place on Black Friday on November 24th in Oneida for Xcite Wrestling. How are you preparing for that? moment in your career?
I'm definitely training hard at the gym when I'm not doing classes at school. I'm watching tape. Definitely old school tag matches, seeing what I can find, nitpick. When I'm not in college, I like to go over to the wrestling school on Sundays and train. Definitely perfect everything.
Right. And before we get into more on that, how has tag team preparation been different so far than singles preparation?
Very different. It's because you have more than one, not just you and your opponent in the back planning everything. Pretty much got to all get together and see how everything goes and timing and everything, especially your moves and how to set up at the end without messing everything up. You all pretty much have to be on like the same page.
All right, so going back to your debut, because I just wanted to throw a curveball in there. But going back to your debut, you're taking on Killer Instinct. How are you and Pat, during your debut, going to take on and defeat a far more experienced tag team?
We may be young, but we're definitely a lot bigger and a lot stronger. Can't really take that away from us. People may think like, oh, they're just students, but got to prove them wrong somehow. And I think this is going to be the match that really shows people, wow, who the hell are these guys? Especially when we hit them with the boot and the lariat, knock them both dead.
And have you found a way to combine these two moves together, or is that something top secret that we can't talk about yet because we don't want to give them any insight?
I'd say that's top secret. You're going to have to find out at the Oneida show,
So
either live at the Cali Center or on Twitch.
That's a good sell, sir. You are a good salesman.
Thank you.
My imagination is running wild with the combinations of deadly force you could achieve with both of those.
Oh, someone's going to get their head knocked off.
Folks can see it live on Twitch.
And if you're at the show, you might be able to catch it.
You can hold off on shopping. You can wait till Cyber Monday. You gotta watch wrestling. You gotta see the Boots and Lariats debut.
If you guys knock off the head, are you going to let the fan keep it, or are you going to want it as a keepsake?
Well, I'd say his boot knocks off the face. Anyone can wear it as a Halloween mask, and I'll have to knock off the head. Someone can use it as a bowling ball. Usually toss it in the crowd.
That got dark pretty quick.
Well, it's October.
This is true.
Now, are you nervous at all about this match, though?
Not really. Say after being in that one-on-one match and the six-man scramble, like the nerves are just starting to go away. Because I know before I was starting, I was like deathly afraid of the crowd. Like, man, these people are going to eat me alive. Then after those matches, people are starting to get with me and all that, and like the nerves are going away. Don't have to worry about people just bashing on me and all that.
Right now you got Pat, so you got a buddy, and you guys have a bunch of new stuff to unleash, so that's like got to get you pumped up.
Now, if you had something you could say to Killer Instinct right now, what would it be? If they're listening for some odd reason, who knows? But if they were listening
live, tapped in.
Tapped in. No, we didn't do that. No more people have tapped into the phones today.
I'd have to say the Killer Instinct, the youth of today, about to meet the youth of tomorrow, which is probably going to be the most brutal day of their lives. They may think it's easy that we're students, but they ain't seen anything yet.
And you're going to get your head kicked off.
Yeah, I'd wear a helmet and maybe a face mask just for protection.
Now, before we get into the game that Bats has concocted over there,
I got a good one.
Oh boy, how can people get a hold of you on the social media gimmicks?
Well, I have an Instagram and a Twitter, both Ross Maker, that is Ross_Maker. And I have my own personal Facebook account, Raymond Nobles, in parentheses, Raymond Ross. If you want to shoot me a message or friend request me, say hi.
I'm going to backtrack. Why are we not calling your Lariat the Ross Maker? That is.
I don't know. I think we should.
You have the name already.
Yeah.
The Ross Maker!
He will be your number one fan, dude, if you call it the Ross Maker. I guarantee it.
I'll show up to shows just to yell it whenever you hit it.
I'll have to scream it at the Oneida show just for you.
Yes.
Oh, please do. Oh, I would love it. It would make my day.
You got it.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
And we're going to, one more question before we get into your game. At the end of the day, because it's my favorite new question, at the end of the day, what do you want to be remembered for when your career is all said and done?
Definitely the most vicious son of a bitch you ever seen in that ring.
He was taking a swig of his beer when you said that, and he almost spit all over the microphone.
All episode. I want to be the nicest guy you ever met. And then what do you want to be remembered for?
At least have the fans remember me as the most vicious son of a bitch they've ever seen.
But, you know, if their car's broken down outside the show, you're going to be the guy that helps them fix their tire.
Yeah, but it'll cost them.
Buy my T-shirt.
Either go to Pro Wrestling Tees and buy my shirt later on when I have that, or deal with the Ross Maker.
Deal with the Ross Maker.
All right, now we're gonna unhinge the gimmick.
We're
table.
gonna unhinge it.
Oh boy, I don't.
I'm a little loose tonight, so this will be fun.
All right, yeah. Just don't spit beer over the mixer, please.
All right, we're gonna do this a little different. We're gonna do this like a little game show tonight.
We're doing like a game show.
So, welcome to the Gimmick Table Unhinged, and tonight we have our guest Ray Ross. He is part of the tag team Boots and Lariat with Pat Sawyer. Pat Sawyer was on our last episode. So, for tonight's episode with the unhinged portion of the Gimmick Table, I'm going to run down a list of some duos, and you're going to quickly tell me which one of you is one of the people and which one of them is Pat. And I've got like 10 of them here, so Matt can cut as many of these out as he wants. But I'm just going to go down this list of ridiculous tag team duos I came up with. Let's just start with easy one, Mario and Luigi.
I have to say I'm Mario and he's Luigi because he's the taller one.
Makes sense.
Now for us, Bats, I'm gonna say I'm Mario and you're Luigi.
That makes no sense.
Why?
'Cause I'm like 3 times as fat as you.
Well,
And you're a skinny vegan.
Oh, there's that too. But I'm in charge and you don't get anything done.
I mean, I always played with Luigi, so I don't know what you're talking about. All right, Jerry Seinfeld and George Costanza.
This could break friendships right here.
I'll be Costanza and he can be Seinfeld.
Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble.
I'd say he's Fred Flintstone. I'm Barney Rebel.
Marty McFly and Doc Brown.
Easy. I'll be Martin McFly. You can be Doc Brown.
Yeah? Why do you say that?
Gee, this is heavy, Doc.
All right. Next one. Buzz Lightyear and Woody.
Buzz Lightyear and Woody. I'd say he'd be Buzz Lightyear and I'd be Woody.
Okay. Ren and Stimpy.
And Stimpy.
This one could break friendships too.
I'm not sure.
We'll pass on that one. We'll go to Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch.
What?
Girl.
What's that? Your gender?
I'll be Stitch and Pat can be Lilo. He has longer hair.
Yes. All right. These are the 2 friendship breakers right here. First one is Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock.
How's that the friendship breaker?
I'll be Kirk. He can be Spock.
Oh, you're taking the lead on that one. Okay, so what about Batman and Robin?
Ooh.
This is the last one. So this is the ultimate friendship test right here.
Man, I have to say Pat can be Batman and I'll be Robin.
All right, here's one that I think you'll appreciate, okay? This might be the true friendship tester. All right, you ready for this one?
Yep.
We're going to finish here with Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. Who's going through the glass?
Oh, I think we'll both be Shawn Michaels.
Secret option C. All right, that's my list. Matt, you got any more?
I'm good after Marty.
Seems like a
Jannetty.
good one to end on.
I cannot think of a better way to end. Ray, thank you for joining us today. We had a great time getting a chance to be your first podcast.
Yeah, I hope you had fun.
Pop another podcast cherry.
Yeah.
We're on a roll.
Oh, another cherry popped.
2 cherries in a row.
This microphone is all notched up. We're going to need a new one.
Yeah, we really do.
Oh.
All right, so we hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, guys, that wraps it up for us here at the Gimmick Table. Thank you once again for joining us. Thank you to Ray Ross. We had a wonderful time with this interview. It was a lot of fun.
Rossmaker!
Yes, Bats has a brand new favorite wrestler because he can now scream Rossmaker while watching him live on Twitch. Make sure you don't miss that on November 24th. All right, guys, and if you like the show, you can follow us on Twitter at @gimmick_table. We are also on that Facebook Gimmick, my new favorite word to use, Gimmick. I should.
I wonder why that's your new favorite word.
YouTube, Gimmick as well. You can find us at Gimmick Table Podcast. We are on iTunes and Stitcher. And you can head over to gimmicktablepod.com and listen to all our episodes there. You can also find a link to our cool new t-shirts. And if you really love us, you can become a Patreon and get entered into exclusive contests, as well as get free t-shirts exclusive only to our Patreons.
Yeah, and once Matt finally gets around to it, you'll be able to see all of my cover art on
I'm
the
working on
website.
it one episode at a time. All right, we have friends out there. Yes, we do have friends. I swear by it. And the first ones out there are the Wrestling Nerds Alliance. all the way from the 8 Mile. They are on Twitter at WNA Podcast. They are on that Facebook gimmick as well at Wrestling Nerd Alliance. And they can be listened to on iTunes, Stitcher, and Podbean.
Next up, we got our buddies Wretched Wrestling. Their Twitter gimmick handle is Wretched Wrestle. Their Facebook gimmick name is Wretched Wrestling. And they do a nice little live Periscope show. You can catch them on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher as well.
And guys, don't forget about S Marks the Spot. Their Twitter and Facebook gimmicks are exactly the same at S Marks Spot. And you can listen to them on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Podbean.
And that brings us to Raisbor. And their Twitter gimmick is Raisbor. Their Facebook handle is Raisbor. You can catch their correct way of saying it on their show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Podian.
And Crocodile Dundee's favorite podcast, it is the Brocast podcast, all the way from Australia. That is with a K. And their Twitter gimmick is the Brocast, and they can be found on that Facebook gimmick as well just by searching the Brocast podcast. And remember, that's with a K for cast.
Australia doesn't have a K in it.
No, but cast does, dude.
Oh,
And you
I
can
get
listen
it.
to them on their iTunes gimmick as well. All right, guys, that wraps it up here for us today on the show. Thank you again for listening. Thank you for all the support. We will see you next week.
I'm just gonna get one more Rossmaker in for the evening.
See ya.